All right, guys, we are going to get things started. I saw all of you guys talking out at lunch, great conversations taking place, which is exciting. I think a lot of fun things are going to come out of the earlier conversations. We have 2 more sessions to go, and we are going to finish out strong. Now, I know that many of you thought that this was going to be just like talking sessions from up here with presenters and Q&As and panels and all that stuff. But we also snuck in a workshop, and I'm really excited that my friend Peter Abraham is going to lead this workshop. I've known Peter for 30 years, and he is a brand powerhouse. And, you know, he's worked with some of the biggest brands in the world in their marketing strategies, branding, communications, so many exercises. And I thought it would be really good to have Peter to come here and put together a workshop to help nonprofits to become more effective, but also businesses to find their purpose. So this is going to be a really exciting and interactive workshop. So let's get things started, and let's give a warm welcome to my friend Peter Abraham.
Thanks, Fipe. Thanks for having me. I'm glad you guys are here, and I'm excited to be here. I spent months and months of my life here across the street at 2 yacht clubs when my son was a competitive sailor, so it's fun for me to come back here. What I want to do is just share with all of you some of what I've learned in my years of working not only with brands on strategy and marketing and content. I made thousands of television commercials and work with a lot of brands on strategy, but also I spent 23 years on the board of Heal the Bay and a couple other nonprofits as well. And I'm very passionate about creating a holistic view of a brand. I also work with a lot of professional athletes on this, and what I've learned is that whether you're a nonprofit, a sneaker brand, or an athlete, a lot of the principles of branding and marketing are really the same. So when I think about a brand, just so we can level set, so for instance, Rising Tide Summit, a brand is not that logo. A brand is the sum total of all the touch points. It's Vipe social media, it's the videos that are created, it's all of you and your organizations and how you talk about this, it's the place that it's held in, it's the speakers, all of those things add up to a brand. And I came up, early in my career working in advertising, making television commercials for all kinds of brands. In those days, that was, the only marketing was advertising. What else was there really? There wasn't too much. And now with the transparency created by the internet, Google reviews or Amazon reviews are more powerful than ads. So we've got to think about everything when we think about the brand, including your product. How many people here are with nonprofits? Okay, great. And how many are with maybe services, attorney, or marketing, or other kind of, okay, great. This is going to apply to anyone here. So it's not only aimed at nonprofits. It'll be very helpful for nonprofits, but any kind of organization or business can benefit from what we're doing. What I want to do is not talk too much, and I want to lead an exercise. So we're going to do hands-on work today, and we're going to get stuff done because I want everybody to go through the process of actually breaking down a brand, and what's the process to do that? And this is the same process that I use from brands like Nike to nonprofits to Heal the Bay. We did versions of this. And so I want to lead all of you through it and show you that anybody can actually do this if they go through the process. So the 3 things I want to accomplish today are articulate your mission and purpose. That's foundational and critical for any organization. I want to help you align your marketing with your community, your customers, and then amplify your message. Okay? Oops, one thing we got to do first. I need everybody to pair off. I need groups of 2. Turn to the person next to you or find a person next to you can pair off with. The first 2 things involve pairs of people. Okay? Get your notebook and your pen ready. Okay. Does everyone have a partner? Is everyone all set? Okay. Okay, what we're going to do, turn to the first page that says portrait. Okay? Everybody turn to that page. Switch books with your partner. Switch books. We're going to draw portraits of each other really quickly, and I'll tell you why this is important. Okay? As we become adults, everybody is so used to getting judged on their work and having to apologize for work. I want to throw that out the window because today is all going to be about learning new stuff. So we need to free ourselves of being judged. Okay, so you're going to have 30 seconds to draw a portrait of your partner. 30 seconds, go. Okay, and time. How'd it go? Let me. Somebody show me the portrait. Let me see that. What do you got? Outstanding. So good. What do you got? Let me see it. Great. What do you got? Awesome. That's a good one. Minimal. I like it. So good. Okay. Everybody can take their books back. Okay. By the way, there's the portrait my friend Neil drew of me when I tried this exercise last week. All right. Okay, let's get ready for exercise number 1. Oops, one more thing I have to talk about. The elephant in the room here is I know many of us are in the nonprofit space. I know budgets are tight and staffs are never big enough on nonprofits. I have spent decades dealing with that, and I know it is an issue for many of you. Some of you might be going, well, you work with all these big brands. That won't work for us. I'm the one-person marketing department, development department, and executive director. Don't worry about it. All the things we're doing can work. They can scale up or down to a huge brand or down to one person. So, and I've tried it in all of those scenarios. These are really basic building blocks that one person can do to establish, branding the right way. So I'm aware of that. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is understand who our customer is. Now this is super, super important. You would be amazed how many brands don't really know who their customers are. A lot of brands in the wholesale space, right, they sell to like Quicksilver sells to a surf shop. The surf shop sells to the end customer. Quicksilver may not understand who bought those board shorts. And so understanding your customers is really, really critical. And it always is amazing to me when I work with huge brands, how many of them actually can answer me when I ask them who their customers are and what they're like. So what we're gonna do now is, same partners, we're gonna interview each other 2.5 minutes each about them. Okay, so no matter, okay, what organization are you with, Jack?
I consult for Altac.
For Altac. Okay, so we're gonna say you're representing Altac. Everybody here is at some level a potential customer of Altac, at some level, a part of your community and your tribe. So you're gonna interview, what's your name?
Aaron.
You're gonna interview Aaron as if he is your customer or part of potentially you want to learn about him. You just want to know, what makes you tick? What problem would I be trying to solve for you as my customer? And then 2.5 minutes, I'll give you the word, then Aaron's going to interview you. Same with all of you. And you just want to learn about where people are coming from, and it's so critical. I've put some starter questions on there. You can use those questions, or if somebody takes off on a tangent, you can start riffing and going deeper in a direction. But what you're trying to do is get into the head of your customer and how you should be working with them. Okay, so 2.5 minutes and then we'll switch. Go, everybody go. Yeah, what organization are you with?
WeTap, improving public water, drinking
Great.
fountains, and water.
You're totally a potential customer of WeTap, so you want to understand where he's coming from. What problem of his would WeTap be solving?
Why don't you trust public water?
My partner left me.
Okay, come here. I have a new partner for you. Okay, I found you a partner. Yes. Okay. What organization are you with?
My film series, Alice's Adventure.
Okay, great. And what organization are you with?
Final Straw.
Okay, great. You're going to interview her as a customer of Final Straw, and you're going to interview her as a potential customer of Allison's Adventures.
All right. I don't sell anything. Let's do
Well, it's not about selling. It's about
dreams.
it's about You're building a tribe.
Yes, I'm building a tribe.
Okay, everybody switch. Switch off. What I find when I do this on behalf of a brand or organization is I don't need to do 100 of these interviews. Once I get through 10 or 12 customers, I start seeing the same like 3 or 4 things coming up every time. And those are the things I circle on the interview forms. I put them in a Google Doc form and I highlight them in yellow. And then the strategy starts to write itself, because you start seeing, like in the nonprofit space, it might be, why I'm a member is it's all about volunteering for me. I really need a place to volunteer. And if I'm working with a nonprofit that doesn't offer volunteering opportunities, I'm like, look, here's an obvious a path for you guys to build a community that you're not using right now. So a lot of the things just start kind of bubbling to the surface on their own once you start asking questions and kind of going deep about why are you actually doing that, what's important about a nonprofit, what problems can we solve for you. And so, yeah. That's a great question. I think in terms of stakeholders of an organization. So if I was doing this on behalf of a nonprofit, I would do a set of interviews with staff because they have a point of view and a set of their own problems. I would do it probably for board members. I would do it for customers or members of the organization. And I might do it for corporate partners as well, or maybe major donors as well. And each group has its own set of needs and problems, and you'd want to kind of map that out. And you can kind of list them. Here are the 3 top problems or pain points for each of these groups. Let's just take a look at that. And it's all about asking questions and then writing them down. So, okay, let's go to the next thing. This is super important. We're gonna work on a mission statement right now. So again, if you're a nonprofit, you may have a mission statement, but you might need to drill down on it deeper and tighten it up. If you're a solo practitioner, you're an attorney, you're like, you might want to create a mission statement for yourself. That's really important. Like in my early 40s, I realized professionally what I wanted to do is create positive change in the community with my work, because I had been selling McDonald's hamburgers and soda to kids for many years in television commercials, so I was tired of that. So I started running events and aligning myself with brands that I felt shared my values. And that is the most important thing about having a mission statement, is aligning on the values with your tribe. And I mean, that means employees, that means donors, that means members, that means other partner organizations. You want to align on values. And so that's why, you look at a brand like Patagonia, why it's so strong, is if you're into the outdoors and you're into sustainability, that's the brand for you. And like Bob McKnight talked about that. He's like, we're not going to try and recreate what they've already done such a great job doing. And so, and what happens is, I can't tell you how many billion-dollar corporations I work with when I say, what do you guys stand for, and what are you trying to communicate with this campaign you're hiring me for? They're like, well, we don't really know. We just want to sell some product. I'm like, you don't even know what you're trying to communicate. I said, why should a customer buy your product? Well, I don't know, the price point. You don't sell on price point. Like that's not a value that people share. So it's really important to be crisp and get a mission statement down to 1 sentence that people can remember and regurgitate. Like Patagonia's is, we're on this planet, we're in business to save this planet. It's 1 sentence, it's very short. They just redid that late last year. And so you're very clear on what they stand for. And that may not be your group or your interest. That's great. Then don't waste time with them. It's better to have a smaller group that is super passionate about what you do and totally aligned with you than a big group of customers that is like, they're okay, kind of milquetoast, vanilla, I don't know. So this is an exercise that I do with all kinds of brands. I'm in the middle of it with 2 brands right now. I've done it with Heal the Bay. I've done it with a lot of other nonprofits. And what we're going to do is we're going to just write down, we're going to start, we're going to do 2 minutes on writing, and there are no bad answers here. Any idea should go on the wall for you. We're going to spend 2 minutes writing out words that you feel like describes your organization, and then we're going to spend 3 minutes building those into some sentences. Very rough mission statement. The point is to create guardrails for your organization, not too tight. Like if, Nike's is inspiring athletes with technology. If it was inspiring athletes with running shoes, that would be a little too narrow for them. It wouldn't allow them to get into basketball and football and outdoors. If it was, hey, we just want to inspire athletes, well, that could apply to any other brand. So they've got nice guardrails. Like technology could be apparel, or it could be one of their apps they do. Like that's like about the right size guardrails. And so any organization or creative process needs guardrails, and that's what we're trying to establish here. Okay, so 2 minutes. We're going to start with words. Yep. Your own. We're back to ourselves.
We already know it.
You're going to try and tighten it up, and could it be better and be improved? Okay? I see a lot of mission statements that are just way too long and need to be updated. Okay, and 2 minutes, go. Okay, there's 2 minutes. Are there 3 words you could circle out of those ones that you wrote that feel like, yeah, that kind of feels on point to me? If there are, circle the 2 or 3 words that feel like the most relevant, and then now write out some sentences for the next 2.5, 3 minutes that would encompass those words. We're here to inspire people to whatever. Inspire is maybe a little overused in mission statements, but it will just get you going. Just write out a few sentences right now. See what you can come up with. Okay, Anne. Let's wrap it up. Okay, what'd you come up with? Anybody want to share anything? You got a mission statement you want to share?
So I work with the International Surf Therapy Organization. Our mission is to enable more access to safe surf therapy.
Okay. Would you update that or add anything or subtract anything from that, knowing what you know?
Well, I guess I could be a little shorter. There is actually a longer version, enabling more access to safe surf therapy, and we know the pathway is by growing the sector. So, I did kind of shorten it by just saying, I guess we really just want to enable more access.
That's great. Okay, that's valuable. Anybody else? What do you got back there?
We were broad in that we were using innovative material advancements
Yep.
for circular economy, and the one I came up with was sustainable product innovations.
That's great. I love that. Who else got something?
For all to see, turn to the ocean to solve some of mankind's most pressing challenges.
Fantastic. What do you got, Aaron?
Inspire ocean health advocacy by encouraging positive impact activities.
Great. Fantastic. Okay. What do you got?
So my project is the last plastic straw, and my mission statement is strives to educate the public about its serious single-use plastic and effects on our health, our environment, and our oceans.
Yep.
And I just got it down to speaking truth to plastic one sip at a time.
Great. I love that. That's great. What do you have?
I'm from the Bay Foundation.
Yeah.
Pretty long mission statement. I shortened it to implement science to better the environment.
Fantastic. I love that. Short and to the point is really, really valuable. If you look up Walt Disney's mission statement is like an entire paragraph. Nobody will ever remember it or be able to use it. So short and to the point really matters. And so from this point, it's unlikely that you will get to a finished mission statement in 6 minutes like this, but then you come back to it over a period of a few weeks and you keep working on it and working on it. And that final wordsmithing, getting it down to just the right, short, crisp sentence is really important. And it's always a hard process. It's work, but it's always really valuable. And we'll get into, when I show you a design brief, why it matters. Because any employee, when they come to you and they say, hey, what are you doing here? What's it all about? Why should I work here? You can lead with the mission statement. When I was the chief marketing officer at the LA Marathon, we had huge political outreach with every city council in LA and Beverly Hills and Santa Monica, brand partners, like Honda. We would lead every meeting with, we inspire athletes and connect communities. That's what we stand for. Do you want to be a part of that or not? And that was a very good litmus test. Like, if a partner or a city wasn't inspired by that mission statement, they were probably not the right partner for us. So I highly recommend not only creating a mission statement, but using it in everything you do. Okay, moving right along. Okay, now we're going to talk about how you would actually create some work. There's two parts here. One is we're going to get to next, kind of building a very simple marketing plan, which in some cases you would do before you create work. In other cases, if like you were creating a logo, you might create that before you had finished the marketing plan. So we're going to get right to creating some work. So I want everybody to think of a piece of content that they would need to make right now. Maybe it's something you really do need to do right now, like you need to rebuild your website or create some social content, or maybe it's something you're thinking about in the future. Maybe it's an email campaign, maybe it's a blog post, but we're just gonna quickly write out a design brief, because this is a basic marketing skill that a lot of people need and don't really know how to do. And it's and I'm sure Kevin back there can speak to the importance of this. Kevin McCarthy, they're created, when I was on the Hilda Bay board, Kevin did a lot of work with us, including creating the plastic bag film 10, 12, 15 years ago? 10 years ago. That was really, it went viral massively, millions of views all over the world. He got Jeremy Irons to narrate it. You might have seen it. It's like a documentary about a plastic bag floating through the world. And that really, the majestic plastic bag, if you've not seen it, you should watch it, because it really started the whole plastic bag ban movement. That was before it was a thing. And he's, has a huge responsibility in helping to get that going. Kevin, I'm sure you can appreciate the importance of a good creative brief, right? Yeah, so what I've put down for you is just, there are different ways to write a design brief. I'm just trying to give you some very basic, okay, let's say you're talking to, it could be a designer, it could be a writer, it could be somebody creating social media, somebody creating a campaign. Okay, let's start with, what would you give them? You'd start with, okay, here's our mission statement. Then you'd what are we making here? We got to create a blog post, we got to rebuild the website, whatever it is. Here's the problem that piece of content, that thing is solving. That's really important, because they want to know, why am I doing this? The old website is out of date, it looks crappy, the photography's bad. Okay, right. Any other background? Any other background? Hey, our company was just sold, we have new owners, they want to redo everything. Whatever, any other context that a designer might need. Any existing brand guidelines, colors, font, maybe there's a style guide you have to include. Schedule, a basic schedule. Here's when we're going to start work. Here's when we're going to see the first round of designs, then revisions, the final approval and delivery. Here's what a budget is. Here's the contact name. So just go ahead right now. We're going to take 3 minutes and just fill that in for either a real project that you have or think of one coming up in the future. 3 minutes. There we go. Okay. What do you guys got? Anything interesting you want to share with me? Any projects? Who's got something? What do you got?
Sustainable fashion avatar.
Wow, that's cool. That's awesome. A fashion avatar. Sustainable. Totally great. Who else has got something they want to share with me? What do you got? Yeah.
A video for one of our projects.
Fantastic. Great. Perfect. What do you have? Yeah.
I have to make a brochure so that I can qualify for being a provider for continuing education credit for the state of California.
Great. Those are all great examples. What do you have?
I'm downsizing my website to 3 pages and redid the logo.
Great. Fantastic. Okay, those are all really good examples of things that a good design brief will just save a lot of time and just cut to the chase for the designer. Okay, let's talk about how you build a marketing plan. I like to start with what I call a communications calendar. There are many ways to build a marketing plan, but a way to just get the basic building blocks in place and not get overwhelmed with, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I don't know where to start. Is just, and I gave you guys in your book, this is the most basic version. I left a couple blank ones. So let's just say you have a bunch of channels on the left. Website, maybe Instagram, email, maybe events, maybe video content, and there could be, of course, much more stuff. And then across the top, you can have timelines, and that can be broken down as granular as days, because something like Instagram, you might be posting a different thing every day. And what I want to do in here is just have you write out the major initiatives, for each channel. And you may not even have Instagram. You could replace it with something else. You probably have email. You may have events. You may have, and just fill in each block. Is there a major initiative? Like when we do this with Nike, we lay out like there might be a retail channel, like the launch of a new shoe. There might be a big event going on, and we put like photos and big blocks in there. So somebody could look at it like a retailer and go, okay, great, I see how this is all coordinating. The email hits, then the retail activation, then the event in different cities. Okay, great. And so I usually start really broad like this, and then you can get more and more granular. But let's just take 2 minutes and see if you can fill this in for your organization. And if you're a solo practitioner, it could be like, yeah, I got a blog post coming out, I got whatever it is.
Will they be different topics?
You could, if you want, like, you could go tighter than this. You could go blog posts. You could get as granular as you want with this. Like, and you could fill in multiple things in each box, like different topics. I'm not trying to get to the level of detail of different things every day. You guys could get that. I'm just trying to give you the concept of how this works. And then I recommend like a shared Google Sheets doc for this that different people on the staff can access. Okay. Did you guys get through some of the boxes there? All right, now we're going to go to the next thing and last phase, which is talking about KPIs. KPI is corporate speak for what do we measure, basically. It stands for key performance indicators. And I've always hated that term, but the point is, every organization should get in the habit of measuring things that it's doing. So, if you think of all different kinds of marketing as experiments, it's a hypothesis. You don't know if something is going to catch on or create engagement or work or sell product or whatever it is until you put it out there. And you should not think of succeeding or failing. You should just think of experimenting and learning. And so when you build a KPI dashboard, that is, how can I measure and what should I measure to see if things are working? That's a good way to look at it. I just put some thought starters up here. Here's some things, and I would like everybody in a second to just write down 10 KPIs that they think would be helpful for their organization. Then we could talk about, how you look at that. If you use Salesforce has you can create a built-in dashboard. You can just use a Google Docs spreadsheet. Things like email open rates. That's a really common one. Which if you use MailChimp, it'll tell you all that. Website, number of website visits, or length of time on the website, or page views. Events, how many events, how many people have come to the events. There are all kinds of social media metrics, and if you have a big social media presence, it's worth using things like Sprout Social or a social analytics tool like that. As a nonprofit, you're of course always looking at development, things like donor revenue, size of average donation, number of donors, and it's just great for the leadership team at our organization, however big that is, to be able to look at one page and go, okay, how are we doing this week or this month? And really kind of look at it and being able to change course and measure that. So just take a minute or two and just everybody write down 10 metrics that you think would be valuable that could be related to these, or every organization has different ones. Just write down 10 things. Okay. I hope everybody got at least a few KPIs down. And this stuff is not too complicated to measure. It's just about being, doing the work and capturing it on a weekly or monthly basis. So now that we've gone through this exercise, my hope is that you guys could take this back to your organizations or back home and do a deeper dive on it with your teams. If you're looking at kind of establishing or deepening or rebuilding your brand in any way, this truly is the exact process that I go through with all kinds of brands. I'm in the middle of it with 3 of them right now, down to the KPIs and the whole thing. And it's not complicated, but this is like, I'm like a coach who gave you a workout routine. If you don't go home and do the work, it doesn't work. And so it's really just about doing the work and being disciplined as a marketer and getting through all this stuff. And if you do, I guarantee it works. I've never seen it not work if you do the work, but you have to do the work. One thing is I put this presentation up on my website. So if you want to share this, the presentation with anybody on your staff or anyone, you could just go to that link and share that link. But the PDF of the presentation is there at that address, abrhm.com/risingtide. And I really appreciate it. I'll make time for questions now. And also, if you need to reach me, there are the places you can find me around the internets. So does anybody have questions about the process or any part of that we just went through? Go ahead. Yes. No question. That gets to your product. I mean, you're speaking about a couple things. You're speaking about your core product, and you're speaking about customers. And so that's why I go out and ask questions of customers, because what do you want? Like now in fashion, in the world of Instagram, things change overnight all around the world, and you see how fast fashion has taken over the world in that way. And again, so this exercise gets to like, let's ask customers what problem we're solving for them. And so that is important, is starting with your customer's point of view and building a product that is right for them. So that's super important. Good question. Thank you. Yes?
Well, I'm finding right now, since you have the straws, things all
Right, and that it's a very good point, and that's why like your communication has to be relevant to customers, and that's why things like really good copywriting and good design really, really matter. If the execution of your marketing isn't good all the way through to, like you can have great strategy, but then not hire a good designer and a good copywriter, and the execution and the email looks crappy, and and then everything's lost. So that's a very good point about you have to carry the good strategy all the way through and everything you're doing, all the way to the end. The writing, the design, the email template, all that stuff has to be good.
Peter, from the other side of the spectrum,
Greenwashing is very hard to combat, especially with, dark money, oil business. It's really difficult. There's no easy answer for that, except to just build a tribe around what you're doing and it's building momentum. And I do see with a lot of green causes now, there's just more momentum. Even the Green New Deal, like you see the traction that has gotten on both sides is pretty impressive, actually. And I don't think that would have happened 10 years ago. Yeah. Oh, no, I see it all the time. Yeah, I see it all the time. And I think social media, I think 80% of the businesses and organizations out there are not using social media properly because, as you say, a lot of organizations are run by people my age and older who just don't use social and don't understand it. 2, they might understand it, but they don't understand that, like, for Instagram, you got to have good photography. Like, you can't cheap out. And, like, the whole, let's get an intern and have them run social media. That's a disaster. Social media is a whole skill set, and it's such a powerful tool when used right. And it's just a total waste of energy when it's not. And so I have one brand I'm working with that is a global brand, hundreds of millions in revenue, and I'm just begging with them right now to up their social media game.
But do you advise them to go to like micro?
Yeah, I'm not such a huge fan of like the paid influencer model. I have done some of that, but like I believe you got to start with like good social media, and it's a reflection of your whole marketing point of view. Like you just start with the basic building blocks on your own. Like, what do you stand for? What's your mission? What are you even trying to communicate? Okay, does the photography, like get your own house in order first, and then you can start bringing in partners, but get really good at operating it on your own first before you go out to influencers. Because a lot of the influencers are like, they just want $1,250 per post. They're not really connected to your mission, and that is another reason to get the mission statement dialed, because then you start attracting people like, I love what you're doing, I want to be a part of that.
Well, the only thing I'll say to that is
No? Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, that was awesome. I knew that would be exactly what we went through. And let me give you guys an example here too. And it leads right into this next session as well, is I serve on a number of nonprofit boards. I'm really fortunate to be able to sit with some amazing people. Let me give you an example of how this exercise that you guys just went through from the nonprofit side can be effective, okay? It's easy to put forth an issue and try and get people to rally around it to donate money. But good marketing and good storytelling and authenticity and credibility play into that idea of getting people to donate to your cause or to your brand. Anybody here heard of an organization called Lonely Whale Foundation? Okay, Lonely Whale Foundation. I serve on the advisory board. I've been working with the team for 2.5 years. And what I can say is that we applied everything that Peter just took us through to every one of our projects and everything that we do. We think like brands. Quality content, quality marketing, digital strategy, everything that you have heard Peter say, Nike has done, lululemon, all these brands, Red Bull, everything, that's what we applied. We've won awards. We've moved the needle, and I'm happy to say that just a few weeks ago, Lonely Whale Foundation, Fast Company's most innovative company of 2019. Okay, that's teamwork, okay? That is the power, that is the level that I would love to see nonprofits elevate themselves to. You've done a great job on the grassroots side, the advocacy side, but you know what? We are up against big brands who have big budgets, okay? And we can tell better stories.